Simon Davis with It's a Fencer's Life, Lessons from the Trenches.
G'day guys, Simon here, Profitable Fencer, Lessons from the Trenches, or a Fencer's Life, Lessons from the Trenches. Got something that on my desk that I have been constantly trying to get out to you guys, because I know this is a hot topic point and it's something that I'm going through at the moment, and it's something I've got a little bit of a history about, and it's mastering the hiring process. I don't know if you can see that, if it's back to front or whatever, but so it's mastering the hiring process, a 10-step guide to attracting top talent. A little bit of history for me is I have never really had a process around hiring people. It's always been come to the door, shake the hands, see how we go. I've had to go to recruitment agencies a few times, and I haven't had a lot of success. And I think in 4 years on one project specifically, I went through something like 109 staff in 4 years. So I want to, and that was a big failure for us because we weren't attracting top talent, and we had a lot of issues and a lot of quality issues, and things went from there. So I really want to go through this with you today and see how things can perform for you if you put in a really good process. And one of the big things we're doing right now in my new company, as I've sort of alluded to in the past, that I've been amalgamated with a big construction company now. We've joined forces. We've now, instead of just being North Coast Fencing, we're now North Coast Construction Group. We're doing a lot of building stuff. We're doing a lot of fencing still. We're doing, we've got machines, we've got vehicles, we've got trucks. We're still doing a lot of fencing, but we're doing sort of the build and the fencing and the landscaping and everything as a one-stop shop for us. So we are hiring a lot of people at the moment, and I've just had to do a big recruitment drive for general labourers. And one thing that I have been hearing constantly over the last few years is that there is no work available for people, and we can't, there are no workers around. And I want to tell you that's not exactly true. It's just about where to find them, and you've got to actually put yourself where people are looking. And classic example is I have another person in the earth moving game screaming for truck drivers and can't get workers. And I know his brother turned up from being away on holidays, turned up back in town and had 3 job offers within 2 to 3 hours as a truck driver. So one doesn't know where to find people, and the other one walks straight into a job. So there is things out there. You've just got to look, and you've got to put yourself in front of it. And just recently, if you've been following me at all, you've seen I've put a few ads up on Facebook for work. I've put them in with groups. I'll put them in a couple of other groups that I know the admins, and talk to them, and they okayed it for me. I actually run a little paid ad for about $30-40 targeting one essential group that I was after, a group of people that I was after with interest and dynamic behaviours that I was after. And then I also used Indeed in Australia, and Jora, Jora, which is another job seeking platform. And out of that, I've had about 12 people hit me up straight away. I think I've got 11 interviews on Monday for different candidates. So it does work. You've just got to put yourself there. So want to talk about, the first step of attracting the top talent, and it's basically defining your needs. So you've got to know what you want, what you're after. That is a massive start. If you're just hoping to get labourers in there for the sake of having people on the ground, it's not going to be real good. So you need to identify key roles and responsibilities. So list the action you really want to do is list all the tasks and responsibilities for the position, and be clear on your expectations and competencies required. So, for example, a fence installer will be responsible for measuring and laying out the fence line, digging post holes, setting posts, and installing fence materials. Very, very basic, very, very simple, but it tells you exactly what's sort of happening. Number 2 is determine required skills and qualifications. So the action here is you want to specify the essential skills, experience, and certifications that people have. So and what you want. So, for example, the fence installer must have 3 years of experience in installation, knowledge of different fence materials, and a valid driver's license. Again, simple. And this is all still in step 1. So number 3 in step 1 is set clear expectations. So outline what success looks like in the role. And a good example for that could be successful installers will complete projects on time, maintain high quality standards, and provide excellent customer service. One of the big things I see quite often when people are trying to hire is they don't have a job description. And I've done this in the past. Again, I'll put my hand up. I've done the same thing. And once I started working on good job descriptions and finding out exactly what I want without over convoluting things, I started attracting better people because I knew exactly what I wanted and I wouldn't settle for anything less. So good job descriptions, undertake tasks, key tasks. So you can undertake tasks associated with fencing, as directed, prepare sites, use correct tools and plans, undertake tasks associated with rural, commercial, residential, utility range of installation, repairs and maintenance, complete work to a specified standard. And that standard could be the Australian standards, the American, US standards, the English standards, whatever standards you do. It could be your own company standards. So I like to work to the Australian standards, but I also go one step further and have a very high company standard that we maintain, and we maintain that for quality purposes. Responsibilities under instruction and using supplied materials, construct fencing, ensure work is completed, inclusive of a site cleanup and remaining plant not utilised, support other staff and subcontractors as required, and with deliveries and fence installation. So that's a basic job description. You can then have specific criteria in there, what skills they've got, and that could be capacity to complete the physical tasks of fencing, what knowledge they've got, knowledge of the requirements of the broad range of fencing activities, what experience they've got and exposure to a variety of labouring and manual tasks, what qualifications that you require as a company, what are you after in that person, and it could be just a simple one-liner, as acceptable to your company, what personal qualities you're after, and that this could be follow specific instructions, quality communication with a range of customer and clients, presentation that reflects pride in individual performance, punctuality, reliability, and a capacity to respond to the needs of the business. And then lastly, who do they report to? So you need them to report to somebody. If it's not you direct, it might be your leading hand, something like that. One of the big things I find in the hiring process too, just for you guys, as a bit of a side note, is give them something to do. When you're talking to people and you need to highlight somebody to come in for an interview, or you're pre-qualifying somebody to start with, please give them something to do. And I do this with my clients as well. And I do this because of the fact that it could be something simple like, please send me a resume with your details to my email. And that's something really, really basic, really, really simple, isn't it? But a lot of people say, no, I'll text you something. I'll text you my phone number. That's not what I'm after. I'm after a resume, not to the fact that I really need to read the resume, because I'll read it on the day, but I'm seeing if this job applicant can actually follow instructions. If they can't follow a simple instruction like send me a resume via email, they're probably not going to follow instructions when you've got your back turned. And so that's just a little tip and a trick that I go through. Part 2 is crafting the perfect job ad and placement. Now, I've I've already talked about this briefly before, but it's highlight the key responsibilities and qualifications. So write a clear and concise job description for your ad. So the example could be seeking an experienced fence installer to join our team. Responsibilities include measuring, installing various types of fences, must have 3 years experience and a valid driver's license. Okay, so it's a very good, clear, concise description of who I'm after. We want to promote company culture and benefits. That's a big one. So the action, again, is to showcase what makes your company a great place to work. So we could put something like join a supportive team with opportunities for growth. We offer competitive salaries, health benefits, ongoing training, company car, fuel, these things. They're benefits, whatever you want to put down in that you're going to give to that person applying for the specific role. And we want to use engaging language. So write the ad in a way that appeals to your target audience. So there's no use writing an ad to somebody looking for a cabinet maker and talking fencing language, or there's a really good book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and it was really about defining different sales methods and different ways to get people into positions, and one of the big ones was never send a camel herder to a diamond market, and that just says it all, doesn't it? When you think of, I think that's the term, but that was the process of the gathering of thoughts that I grabbed from that was don't send somebody to do something that they're not inclined and they don't know about, basically, is what it's saying. So, as an example, are you passionate about craftsmanship? Do you take pride in your work? Do you know your way around a work site? And are you comfortable swinging off a nail gun all day? Join us at XYZ Fencing, where quality and customer satisfaction comes first. So it's just something using the engaging language. Throw a nail gun or a screw gun in there, and the blokes and the girls that you're looking for will automatically sort of grasp what they're looking for and that language, and know straight away what you're after. Part 3 is choosing the right platforms. Okay, so where do we put them? Once you've got a job description, you've created a really good ad, where do we put it? So you've got to find where your clients or where your job applicants are hanging out. Are they hanging out on Facebook? Are they hanging out on TikTok, for example? Are they actively seeking on for jobs on job placement boards? Are they putting ads up? Are they hanging out down the local mall? Are you looking for a sort of school leader who's sort of hanging around the skate park? You've got to find out where they're hanging, and then you've got to put the ad in front of them. Okay, so research your ideal candidates, where your candidates are, and post on industry-specific sites like constructionjobs.com, Seek, Indeed, Craigslist, Gumtree, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you can put that your people are hanging out so they can get their eyeballs on it. That's where you want to put it. Leverage your social media as much as you can. Get your friends to pass it around. That is another big one. And then start to network within the industry. So reach out to industry associations, trade schools, professional networks, and see if you can partner up with some of the trade schools like TAFE or fencing industry or FWA, and see if you can find some graduates looking for employment. You may be looking for a estimator who might be sort of scouring the pages of FWA or working for an one of your opposition somewhere, or in Australia, working for a big building company, and they've had enough of that and they want something a little bit more sort of up their alley for what they're after, and you could be entice them to come over into the fencing world. Part 4 is the first stage is then you've got your ads out, you're starting to get people in, what you need to do is start screening them online. So I looked at this the other day, and there's a system called an ATS. It's an applicant tracking system. Banana is one. If you Google it, you can have a look. You can actually put details in there, and then people can actually apply through that system, and then you can track it yourself via your mobile or things like that. And it's really good software to help filter and manage resumes. Otherwise, you could get them all to your email, have 1,000 of them, and you've got to sit there and sift through them, which can be quite difficult. So, and some of these ATS systems actually work with a lot of the employment agencies and like Seek and Gumtree, etc. So you can actually put them through there, link them together, and they do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So what you can then do is use your ATS to scan for keywords like fence installation or construction experience and safety certifications. And then you can start to manually review resumes. So you go through the shortlisted resumes to assess the fit and get rid of the tire kickers or professional job hunters. There's always professional job hunters looking out there for something better. So you want to sift through them as quickly as you can. You want to look for consistency, employment history, relevant skills, and any red flags such as gaps in employment and lots of jobs. And this is something that we don't really get taught when we're looking for people. Is there are professional job hunters out there who will just chase and chase and chase, and it doesn't always work out for you. So if they've got lots of jobs on offer, that's pretty much a red flag for me, because it means they're going to come in and work for you for a little bit, then they could just go straight out and be gone. So that's something that you need to sort of be aware of. You don't want to spend a lot of time finding the right applicant for your job, the right candidate, and then 6 months down the track, they've left and gone somewhere else because they get an extra $1 an hour or something, or get an extra benefit. So that's the first stage of screening your resumes. You probably want to create a rating system, develop a criteria to score resumes, rate candidates on a scale of 1 to 10 based on experience, skills, and overall presentation. And only the 8s, even the 8s can be a little bit sketchy sometimes, because that still leaves 20% blank, that they're not quite suitable. So maybe go for the 9s and 10s. So that's a very important part. So that's the first stage of screening your resumes. Part 2 is, or section 5, part 2 is the second stage, is conducting initial interviews. And I do this generally via phone. So before anybody comes to see me, I talk to them. If I can, I can't always, but if I can, this is how I sort of try and work it, and I develop a good set of questions to ask each candidate. So, and a good example could be, tell me what made you apply for this position. I say that you've been unemployed for a while or at your previous job for a long time. What type of work have you done? Just get them asking. You don't want yes/no questions. You want in-depth conversation questions, so you can get a good sort of feel if they've got a good language barrier, if they've got good correspondence with you, and you can sort of see if they sort of waver in their voice a little bit. You then want to assess their personality. So the action here is we evaluate how well candidates communicate. Are they outgoing, they're confident, they invert, or they're shy? Are they guessing? And, this is something that you really got to sort of be switched on to, and you can pick this up in your early phone calls, which is quite easy to do. So you can note if the candidate can clearly explain their past work and how they handle customer interactions. And it could be a simple, what do you like to do for fun question. That's something very, very simple. See if they talk to you, find out some common ground. And then the third part of this is you want to gauge the cultural fit. So you want to determine if the candidate aligns with your company values. So if you haven't got company values, probably sort of get some. Like all companies have a value proposition. So you've just got to work out what yours is. What's your why? Why do you do things? And then you've got to work out for your candidate, how enthused are they to join your team? How motivated are they? So you can ask questions like, what does quality workmanship mean to you? How do you handle conflicts on a job site? We have a number of applicants applying for the position. Why should we hire you? Little things like that. And then you can just cover off on the basics. Check what qualifications they have. When can they start? What salary they're chasing? Do they have a license, a carpentry license or a fencing license? Do they have a vehicle license? Do they have any plant experience, operation experience? And it's, again, just a simple question. Do you have a current full motor license? Do you have contractors or supervisors license? What pay rate are you looking for? Can you operate a bobcat or an excavator? And once you've sort of gone through that, you've shortlisted them again. So then it goes to the third stage down. You can go into face-to-face interviews. And what we really want to do is look for intent here. So I've sort of worked it on a flag system, a red flag, blue flag, green flag. Red flag shifts the blame to others always and doesn't take any ownership or responsibility. And we've all had those people in our business. Okay, so we want to make sure the red flags are out. Blue flag is did what needs to be done and stayed motivated. And the green flag is did what needs to be done, stayed motivated, and helped others to stay on track and actually conveyed issues to correct channels at appropriate times. So you can do a face-to-face and welcome the applicant in, do a 5-minute small talk, tell me something about yourself, what made you apply for this position. And the intent there is the evaluation of holding the conversation, making people feel at ease. So if they're desperate for a job or just testing their skill levels. And if they're desperate for a job or testing their skill levels, that's normally a serial job hunter. And if they're desperate for a job, that could have a lot of red flags with it as well. So you then start to conduct your interviews, and the first one I like to do is sort of your behavioural interviews, and use questions that reveal past behaviour. And as I said, we're looking for red flags and blue flags here. So not everybody's going to get green flags, but we definitely don't want red flags. So you can use questions that reveal the past behaviour, and it could be something very simple like describe a time when you had to solve an unexpected problem during installation. What did you do? Could just get them to answer. What did they do when they've had a problem on the job and didn't know how to fix it? What was their first port of call? Find out how they worked it. And out of that goes into the next step, which is then you can assess problem solving skills. So you could ask a hypothetical scenarios, and you can go through all of these for your own specific industry where you're working and what you're after. And it could be something simple like this. How would you handle a situation where a client is unhappy with the quality of work? Okay, find out the answer. Tell me about a time when you clashed with a customer, the boss, or even with co-workers. How did that make you feel? How did you react? How would you do things differently next time? And what we're trying to find out here, what intent here is the ability to deal with conflict. And I cannot say this enough. Nobody likes conflict, but we have the fight or flight gene in us. So some people will back off 100 miles an hour. Some people will articulate it very well and talk their way out of it. And some people will just get real nasty and want to fight, go down swinging, so to speak. And these are the things that you've got to look at for in your business. Do you want these type of people who are going to cause issues, cause trouble in your business, or do you want the person who's going to be able to talk to the client in a nice passive way? But also being assertive, so you don't get walked over. Do you want a worker or a candidate that's going to be able to relay messages with you that maybe you're the boss and you've had a discussion that this has to go a certain way and they haven't agreed with it and they've voiced their opinion, but they've still got on with the job and haven't badmouthed you behind your back and still got the staff under them to do the job because you've expressed a certain way of doing it. So they're the type of people you want to work with. Another good one would be tell me about a time when you have had to face challenges or disappointments. What did you do? How did you handle the situation? So they're just some problem solving skills. They're just a few questions you can ask there. It's something really simple, and you just want to get a feel for the person or the candidate to how they work in that situation. The next part is you want to discuss career goals. So once they've gone through that we want to understand the candidate's long-term aspirations. So this is really important, because if I'm hiring somebody spending a lot of money trying to get the right candidate in, I don't want them for 6 months and then they've disappeared. I want them for a long time, hopefully, grow old with the business. I want them to be able to bring up people underneath them, so they work really well with people underneath them, and train other people to take their job so they can grow out of their job and grow into the next role of the business. So that's what I'm after. So you can ask the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you think this role fits into your career path? Simple. Then you want to ask them, are there any questions? And the intent here is to see if they've come prepared to the interview. Are they prepared and show ability to think ahead, which is what you're after. You want somebody to think for themselves. Last but not least, we are very keen to hire somebody for a quick start. Timing is really important to us and will play a part in our decision. How soon could you start if you were to be successful? The intent here is to show loyalty. Starting right away doesn't very much, if they've got a job, doesn't show any loyalty to their previous employer, and they could do the same to you. However, on the flip side, giving reasonable and appropriate notice shows some form of loyalty. So if they've got a job already, you would hope that they would give 2 to 3 weeks notice to their previous employer before they come on board with you. So they're just some career goals that you want to ask. Then we want to sort of get to a stage, maybe that's the first interview, and then you may fast track, select 2 or 3 candidates and bring them back in for some skills assessment on maybe another day. You may be in need of people straight away, and you may skip this part, but it's quite good if you can do this one. And you just want to design a practical test. So, and it could be a test, something physical, could be something, set up a mock installation where candidates must measure, post dig holes and set a section of fence. That could be, there's 10 meters. Can you show me how to set it up? Can you show me how you're going to string it? How you're going to plumb post? How you're going to dig post? Blah, blah, blah. That way you can evaluate technical skills. So once they've actually done that, you can then check for accuracy in measurements, proper use of tools, safety protocols, and then you can provide feedback. So after the test, discuss what the candidate did well and the areas for improvement. Yeah. So we've got those candidates in. We've fast-tracked everybody. We've got them in. We've asked them questions. They've ticked all our boxes for us. And don't worry, everybody will tell you what you want to hear. So we then need to go to the next step, and we want to check references. And this is a must. So you have to prepare a standard reference check template and develop a set of questions to ask references. And you don't really want to have yes/no questions here on the phone here with a previous employer, because they'll tell you, Joe Blow used to work for me. He's a friend. You did the wrong thing. They're not going to tell you did the wrong thing, by the way, but they don't want to dob in a mate and say, oh, he gave me a bad reference and blah, blah, blah. So you could ask a question like, how would you describe the candidate's work ethic? Can you provide an example of a time they went above and beyond? That's really simple. You speak with at least 2 former employees, and you need to get a well-rounded view of the candidate. So at least a minimum of 2 people that you need to check their references. And then you want to just verify employment history. So ensure the dates of employment and job titles match what the candidate has actually put on his resume. And then 9, and I know it's getting on, guys. We're nearly at the end of this, but number 9 is making the offer. So you really want to develop a comprehensive offer letter. I've done a 2-part offer letter. I normally have a contract for my employees, but the main part of I have is a very basic offer letter, and it sort of reads what the salary and the benefit is, what they get out of the job. So we could, and a good example could be like this. We're pleased to offer you the position of a lead fence installer XYZ fencing, starting at 75 grand a year, 100 grand a year with health benefits, super plan, company vehicle, fuel card, mobile phone, laptop, health, said health benefits. You could add in, RDOs, rostered day offs, once a month, and then you highlight the terms and conditions. So that's the offer. That's what you're going to give them. They're the benefits they're going to get. But now this is what they're going to give back to you. So your employment is contingent upon successful completion of a background check and drug screening. And then you want to give them a time deadline. Okay, and this is something that we don't do a lot of, but you need to give them a deadline to accept the offer. So you can, and it's just simple, please let us know your decision by next Friday week, the 21st, something like that. Once you've finally got the person, the right candidate, so we've gone through the screening, the resumes, the phone calls, the face-to-face, the skills test, we've hired somebody, we've sent the offer out, they've accepted, we're happy. Now we need to onboard them and train them. Okay, and this is your biggest part of retaining good hires, because if you do not train somebody or you do not sort of help them succeed and be successful, they will leave your company very, very quickly. So this is very important. So you want to develop a list of tasks to complete during the first 2 days. And day 1 might be complete all your HR paperwork. Day 2 might be safety training. Day 3 might be meet the team and tour the job site. And then we want to implement a training program. So we could offer a 2-week training program covering safety procedures, company policies, hands-on practices with various fencing materials. The next part is you then want to put them with a mentor, put them with somebody who's already in the company and working well. So you can pair new hires with experienced employees. Assign a mentor to guide the new hire through their first few months, answer questions and provide support. So you just buddy them up, which is really easy to do. And then you want to schedule regular check-ins. So you want to meet with new hires regularly to assess their progress, to see if they've got any issues, see if they've got problems, see if they're happy, and it's basically hold weekly check-ins to discuss how the new hire is adjusting, address any concerns and provide ongoing feedback. So it's really, really easy to get this wrong. But if you spend a bit of time and get a process in place, it's also really, really easy to retain good people. And I've had some really, really good people with me for a long time that have come and gone and come back again and gone again. But, fencing is a tough gig out there for you guys, and construction's a tough gig. So you've got to be prepared to have a bit of an influx of certain people. But if you can find them readily by creating a good job ad and defining your needs, crafting the perfect job and highlighting your company culture, and then choosing the right platform to market it to and put it in front of their face so they've got eyeballs on it. You then, screen your resumes, conduct initial interviews by phone, and then we do upfront in-depth interviews. We throw a skills assessment in it. We check their references, and then we start making the offers, and then we onboard and train them. Okay, it's a 10-step system that will save your business a lot of headache, because that system is the same for everybody who comes on, whether they're a labourer, whether they're an estimator, whether they're a concreter, a surveyor, a draftsman, doesn't matter, a carpenter. Everybody has to go through the same process, okay? And if you don't train them, and a lot of people have said to me over the years, if we train them, spend all this money training them, it costs a lot, and it does. But if you don't train them, a mentor of mine actually said, we've got all these sort of monkeys working for us, and they're so hard to train, and it costs too much to train, And he said to me, well, you either don't train them and have monkeys that stay, or do train them and have men and women who will grow into really good leaders and possibly go, and that's a possibly leave your company, but they could also stay in your company. And that's what we're after. We're after these people to be trained, to stay in our company, to grow with our company as we're growing, and as we're leaders, we've got to grow. And I don't mean the monkeys to be derogatory, it's just a term. The pay peanuts get monkeys. So I don't mean to cause offence to anybody, but the big thing here is most people don't just show up on your doorstep looking for work. While it's true that some of the best and most loyal employees might come to you this way, and I've had this, they've walked in off the street and come to me, and one of them become a really good mate of mine, stayed for 12 years, worked with me. Generally, having a solid process is the key. Okay, so by not just taking anyone, you'll be surprised at how much you can free yourself up to focus on how to grow your business rather than trying to work in it. And this is where I got stuck for so long. I didn't have the good processes. I didn't have the good systems, which meant things would go wrong. And as things went wrong, I had to fix them. And because I had to fix them, it kept dragging me back into the business all the time. So good employees often leave because of bad hires. They're allowed to get away with too much, or because the workplace is chaotic due to a lack of systems or poor hiring choices. Just as children need guidance and direction, so do your staff. Good employees will outperform others when given clear parameters to operate, and when they're not being micromanaged. That's a really big thing. So I encourage you listeners to implement these steps in your own hiring practice to build a strong, capable team. Now, I also want to just say this is there has been studies that when you put somebody with a high performer, that person will grow another 15% in his performance or her performance level. The flip can be also the same, that if you have a person in a bad environment or with bad employees that just seem to get away with everything, they will fall backwards at 30%. Okay, so they're studies that have been proven through Harvard and through studies of 2,000 workers, up to 20,000 workers. I can't remember which exact platform I read that on, but it was quite astounding, the numbers and the percentages of the different rates. So if you can team people up with good mentors, good leaders, have a good system so you don't have people just coming and going and doing what they want to do, and you have good systems to follow, you'll attract good people, and you'll get good hires, and then your life will be so much easier, so you can actually work on running the business instead of working in the business all the time. Okay, so that's something, 10-step guide. I'm going to put it down in the blog next week. I'm sorry it has taken so long for me to get back out. It has been something I've been working on for a long time, and going through my hire process at this stage for my new business, and it's worked well, and we're going through all these questions on Monday. We've got, I think, 12 interviews on Monday, so it's going to be a fairly big day, and I'll let you know how it's all going. Please, take note, put a process in place. It doesn't have to be 10 steps like that, but it doesn't have to be convoluted. It doesn't have to be 100 questions. It just has to be something. Okay, so you've got something to gauge your people against. Thanks very much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks again for listening to the Fencer's Life Podcast. Be sure to follow on Twitter, Instagram, or the free Facebook group, The Fence Posts. And of course, Simon's personal Facebook, facebook.com/Simon M. Davis 1. And also check out Spotify to get weekly episodes. If you believe Simon can help you make a difference in your fencing business, please reach out to him on Messenger or visit his coaching mentoring site at theprofitablefencer.com. Until then, stay safe and happy fencing.